You know I'm gonna flaunt it. We are more beautiful together. We leave a sizzle in the air. I'm not afraid about the future. I close my eyes and I am there. Come test me.
Hello, and welcome to episode 1 of Femme Power on WISP Sports Radio, where we believe that women in sports deserve equal coverage.
I'm holding on. I know you treat love like fast cars, burn through hearts like NASCAR. But this is the best part.
Femme Power is a podcast where we talk to women and girls in swimming and sports who inspire us.
If only for the night. If only for the night. We'll be touching bodies. We'll light up the sky. If only for the night.
Hi, I'm Kara Lynn Joyce. I am a 3-time Olympic swimmer and founder of the Lead Sports Summit for teenage girls.
And hi, I'm Christen Shefchunas. I am a confidence coach and speaker.
So Christen and I got together just over a year ago, and we found each other through swimming. And I guess a little bit of background about myself. I started swimming when I was 5 years old, and I am from upstate New York. And when I was 7, I think a lot like most young kids that do our sport, I dreamed of going to the Olympics. And I was not one of the best swimmers on the team or by any means on a path to get there at a young age, but with a lot of help from great mentors in my life and fantastic coaches and a very supportive family, I qualified for my first Olympic Games when I was 18 years old. And after that, I went to 2 more Olympics and walked away with 4 silver medals in total. I was featured in a film called Touch the Wall, and it's on Netflix and iTunes, and it documents my journey alongside Missy Franklin to the London Olympic Games, to my last Olympics and her first Olympics. But after I retired, kind of fast forwarding a little bit, I guess after I retired from swimming, I started to work a lot with teenage girl swimmers, and it really became a passion of mine. And, in coaching and giving private lessons and talking to teenage girl swimmers, what I found was the thing that we talked the least about was the actual swimming. What we talked a lot about was confidence and just giving them tools to overcome doubt and any kind of fears that they might have when it comes time to, compete and get behind the blocks. And that became something that, I'm extremely passionate about. And that's actually how I met Christen. Christen, I'll let you kind of segue into that.
Yeah, well, I come from the swimming world too. My journey looks a lot different from Kara's when it comes to the swimming part. I grew up in Pennsylvania. I grew up in YMCA swimming, actually. When it came time for college, I probably wasn't good enough to swim Division I, but I just, really believed that if I put myself into a great training environment, I put myself around, elite athletes and I worked my butt off, that maybe I could become elite too. And so I took a big risk and I ended up being a walk-on at the University of Tennessee in 1993. Yes, that was a long time ago. And I'm proud to say that I went in there and just worked my butt off and got to walk out a 4-time All-American, and I was captain my junior and senior years. But I always feel like this is such an important part of my story because the reason why I'm so passionate about what I do is because when I started getting good, instead of getting really excited, instead of being like, heck yeah, all my hard work is paying off and I'm finally where I want to be, I got scared. That the success scared the crap out of me. And so, my sophomore year, beginning of my junior year were my best years, and the fear just completely stopped me. And I was never as good again. So even though I walked out having a great career, there's definitely moments in that make me more passionate about what I do. From there, I got into my coaching career that lasted for 16 years. 3 of those years were at the club level, and the other 13 were in college. I was an assistant college coach for 6 years and then a head college coach at the University of Miami for 7 years. Long story. I'm sure you'll hear it through this podcast as you get to know us better. But what I realized is it wasn't necessarily the swimming that I was so passionate about. It was the building the women up. I always say, you know, I'm passionate about making sure that with my athletes, I treat them as a woman first and athlete second. And I think that Kara's just as passionate about that and probably, you know, going to feel that passion in this podcast that we want to build you up as women first, because that actually makes you a better athlete. So became a confidence coach, started my own business, Coach Christen, doing speaking. And like Kara said, got a call from Kara about a year ago, asked me to speak at the Lead Sports Summit, and our relationship has just built and grown. And, you know, we are both so passionate about the same things, which is empowering women, hence the name FemPower.
I can't believe that was a year ago, Christen. It honestly feels like a decade.
I can't either.
So much has happened.
It does. So much has happened, but it's just been a beautiful relationship. And it's just been so cool to meet somebody that, you know, has the same passions as I do and aren't afraid to take steps toward that to, you know, help young women and girls and old women like us too.
All of the above.
Yes. Yes. So I was thinking actually the other day, and something that we would love to do on this podcast is to end our time together with a little bit of a challenge, maybe something that happened, you know, during the week, something that happened in our lives or our friends' lives or families' lives, and really ended on a challenge. But I had to tell you this story because I just thought it was so funny, because as Kara and I, when we began to kind of brainstorm about this podcast and what we wanted it to be and what our roles would be on this podcast, it was funny because the first thing that I said to her is, well, you know, I see you as the business-minded woman, you know, you're the entrepreneur, you have it kind of all together, you know, so I feel like that can really be your role. And she interrupted me and she's like, well, that's funny because that's how I see you. I see you as the business-minded person and as the, you know, the entrepreneur. And then later in our conversation, she said, well, you know, you're such a great speaker, you know, and I'll just catch up. Like, I'm not as good as you, but I'll catch up with you. And I'm like, wait a second, you're the great speaker. You know, I always thought of you as the great speaker. Yes. Yes.
This is literally call number one to talk about the podcast.
But it was just something, you know, it dawned on me. And honestly, I see it all the time, but it's so easy to see the greatness in other women, isn't it? I mean, it's so easy to see how awesome
absolutely
other women are and, you know, their gifts and their strengths. And we never see it in ourselves. You know, we never give ourselves credit for our strengths and our gifts and our awesomeness. And so I just want to challenge you all, you know, that are listening today to start paying attention to your awesomeness, you know, start paying attention to your gifts and your strengths. It's so easy to compare ourselves. We do that so much as women, and we miss out on really giving ourselves credit for our greatness.
Absolutely. I love that challenge, and I accept. But this is why I love having you as a friend. I feel like you inspire me, not just to be, you know, a stronger woman, but to really dig deep and to look to myself and figure out, you know, what can I give myself credit for? You know, don't be so hard on yourself, Kara. And, you know, what are some things that you're doing that are really helping not just, you know, yourself, but the people around you. And it's okay to give yourself credit for that. And it's okay to say, hey, you're doing a good job, and keep doing it. And, you know, I think working with you and becoming such good friends with you has helped me to be better at that. So thank you, Christen.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you, because you inspire me too. You want to talk about a woman who She has an idea and she starts running with it. That is Kara Lynn Joyce. So you inspire me as well.
For better or for worse. That's running with it for better or for worse. But yeah, so we look forward to bringing on some amazing women, just within the network that Christen and I have in the sport of swimming and in business, and with even young girls that are inspiring athletes. We look forward to bringing a lot of them on our show and digging deep with them and finding out, what makes them so great, what scares them, what motivates them. And hopefully we can all learn something from that.
Absolutely. I always say I am very passionate about talking about the real stuff. I don't like a bunch of fluff. I like to go into those, the deep, dark, ugly, embarrassing stuff as women that we think about. Like, let's talk about it. So we definitely are going to have some fun, but we're also going to talk about the real stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So to give you guys a little bit of an idea about where Christen and I are now. So we work together on probably, a handful of different projects. Would you say, Christen? We both are speakers and we are both so passionate about helping women. But where we very first came together was for the Lead Sports Summit for teenage girl swimmers. And that took place in Austin, Texas last year. And we brought in incredible women. So not only did we have Christen Shefchunas there, but we also had Missy Franklin, Elizabeth Beisel, Jennifer Brunelli, a phenomenal nutritionist, and a handful of other just incredible women. And then we brought in 76 teenage girls. And over 3 days, I would say we got pretty deep on some, just important topics for young girls and for young athletes. And it was an incredible experience all around. I think for all the women that attended, it was almost like we were attending our own summit. And then for all the girls that attended,
absolutely,
it was catered for them as well. And so now, Christen and I work to continue to build this network of young girls. And, yearly we come together for the Lead Sports Summit. So the summit for 2018 is going to be in Atlanta, Georgia over Labor Day weekend. And again, we have all of our speakers returning, and then we added a few other, really amazing women like Katie Miley and Leah Neal. And, it's where you want to be if you are a young woman in swimming. And you can find out more about LEAD going to leadsportsummit.com. All the information is there. And then you can always reach out to Christen and I on our social media or on our email, and we will make sure that's in the notes of this podcast.
Well, today we just wanted to give you an idea of who we are, what we're passionate about, and what we are going to be doing on this podcast. We will be back next week. Like Kara said, we are going to have amazing guests. We are going to talk about some real stuff. We are going to have some fun. So we hope that you join us.
WISP Sports Radio is the world's largest network for women's sports, available on any podcast app where there are more than 800 episodes. For more conversations from the world of women's sports, visit us at wispsports.com and follow us on social media at WISP Sports, at Kara Lynn Joyce, at Coach_Christen, and at Lead Sports Summit. We'll be back next week with another episode of Femme Power.